WNBA star Sophie Cunningham is not backing down from her opposition to biological men in women's sports. And her supporters are not staying quiet either. Another rally took place outside today's Fever Lynx game. Her coach called the attention frustrating. Then a reporter tried to get Cunningham's teammate to weigh in.
There is a frustration, of course, because we want to talk about basketball. But I also understand, this is part of our growth edge as a league.
You're speaking of that outside noise, Sophie, your teammate. Sophie came out with
Oh, thank you. Have a good day.
OutKick host Dan Dakich joins me now. Dan, why do so many members of the league seem not to want to talk about this?
Well, because you get excluded, you get bullied, you get harassed, you have marches. Today, Cheryl Reeves, the coach of the Minnesota Lynx, playing against Sophie Cunningham, wore a shirt that said "Trans kids belong" in reference to Sophie Cunningham saying boys should stay out of women's basketball. And I would argue, okay, what's the end of that shirt? Nobody's arguing trans kids don't belong. Sophie Cunningham simply is saying that boys should stay out of girls' locker rooms and compete against boys. And others, including, unbelievably, Stephanie White, the coach of the Fever, doesn't understand that nobody would have ever heard of Stephanie White. I live in Indiana. She's an Indiana legend. If boys were allowed to play against Stephanie White at her little high school in rural Indiana or at Purdue, we'd have never heard of her. She'd have never had these opportunities if boys were allowed. But the bullying, the harassment goes on in that league. The league has no integrity. The commissioner's a joke, and so people are afraid.
Yeah, it's not like LeBron James just signed on to join the Fever. There is a reason they call it Women's NBA, right?
Well, that's the interesting thing. They talk about, and Stephanie White, the coach there, has talked about how we're all about inclusion. Well, hold on. In your name, it specifically says W for women. You're not about inclusion. This has become an activist group, quite frankly, John. This is not a basketball league. This is a group of activists that don't like when somebody goes against what it is that they are espousing. It's literally that simple. Sophie Cunningham, you mentioned in the intro, she did double down. They asked her, and she goes, look, it's just common sense. And frankly, and I believe you know this, most know this, it's an 80-20 issue in the United States. Keep boys out of women's locker rooms. I would guess it's a 90-10 issue across the world because other countries got to go, well, what are you, idiots? Of course you shouldn't let boys participate with girls, dress in women's locker spaces. It's the most ridiculous league with the most ridiculous agenda we've ever seen and hopefully will ever see.
Yeah, I mean, so much of the, so-called testing on this issue revolves around hormone levels. But if you grow up as a man, you generally have bigger bones, longer arms, longer legs. Even if you take, anti-hormone drugs to reduce some of those testosterone levels and so forth, you're still going to have equipment that makes you faster or taller or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and Stephanie White, the coach of the Fever, said, I'm not biologically, I don't know biologically that how to comment on this. Like, wait a second, I'll give you a way to do it. All you got to do is watch a women's tennis match and then watch a men's tennis match and tell me they're the same. Obviously, they are not. But again, everybody, including coaches, is afraid because there is no backing. Think about this. In every modern sports league, a coach of a team with a star player like Sophie Cunningham or Caitlin Clark protects that player. In the WNBA, Stephanie White, the head coach, is so afraid to protect her players, both from being physically abused on the court like Clark is, or saying something that damn near everybody with a thinking brain agrees with. Oh, it's a joke, it's a farce, and if you don't understand the physical differences between men and women, that's on you. That's simple biology.
Yeah, I've seen those, Senate hearings where people have been asked to define a woman, and they're afraid to do it. I mean, they could do it, I suppose,
right.
But there's a lot of fear out there these days, and it seems silly, frankly.
Well, it's idiotic, it's silly, it's bullying. It's almost like everything that liberals / folks in the WNBA rail against, they are doing. we're inclusive. Well, wait a second. You're mad at Caitlin Clark because she came in here as a straight white girl. Well, we're inclusive. Well, yeah, except if you are saying something we don't like. I applaud people for going out in Minneapolis, one of the most liberal cities in our country, and rallying. I applaud Riley Gaines, Jennifer Say, for being there, for bringing not only attention to the fact that boys shouldn't be participating against girls, but bringing attention to the fact that Sophie Cunningham is being bullied, is being threatened for having a view that we all agree with. And frankly, what happened at that rally today, we kind of knew. The other side, the crazy people that are for girls playing against boys, started using foul language, calling people names that were supporting Sophie Cunningham. Yeah. It's typical, it's gaslighting, it's deflecting, and frankly, it's nonsense. But good for Sophie Cunningham. She's standing up.
I agree. Good for her. Dan Dakich. Dan, thanks very much for coming on.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.